Right.
Massive news, F26. We got our first guest tonight, Riley boy. Are you excited?
Yes, sir. Mr. Michael Craggs.
Mr. Michael Craggs, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be huge. F26.
Episode 26 with Michael Craggs.
G'day and welcome to the MacPack podcast.
We're back.
My name's Jake McKenna, and to my left this week in order of the richest Bitcoin owner we have, Joe Boy. How are you, mate?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. The proud owner of 0.125 Bitcoin.
Very exciting indeed. And to my far right this week, coming in at 6'1", as he does every single week, it's Junior Boy. How are you, mate?
I'm so keen for tonight, Jakey. Tell me why I'm so keen.
Well, this week to my closest right is our first guest. It's episode 26. It's our half birthday, and we've decided to bring on a very, very fancy guest. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure, it's an honor, it's a privilege to welcome Mr. Michael Craggs.
Michael Craggs.
How are you, Craggsy boy?
Thank you very much, boys, for having me. It is a pleasure and an honor for being your first guest.
We're super excited, and we have a truly massive episode of the MacPack podcast. In fact, it's too big to get involved in. Let's get into it. Boys, happy 26, happy 26, happy half.
Happy
Happy
half.
half.
Happy
Day.
half. Happy half. Yeah.
Hey, Joey.
Happy half day, everybody.
Air 5, Joey.
Ladies and gents, it's 6 months since the MacPack started their first iteration. It's massively exciting for all of us involved. So much so that we've decided that we're going to get our first guest on the show. There wasn't many questions when we discussed this. We discussed this months and months ago.
It wasn't a question.
Who the first man we were going to get on the show was. He's obviously been a big part of most of our lives, and he's always been a very positive. He's always been a very positive individual, which is super exciting. So it truly is an honor and a privilege to welcome Michael Craggs to the MacPack podcast, ladies and gentlemen. He asked. He's been here for an hour, and all he asked was when we introduced him was for us to go.
I don't think I can get enough of it. Honestly, you can just keep doing that for the full hour. I'd be absolutely stoked. Don't think your listeners would be, but I'd be absolutely stoked.
Michael, have you ever listened to the MacPack podcast before?
Absolutely. Every single one.
He is a true fan. He is one of the. He's one of the older statesmen of the MacPack podcast as well, which is super
Yeah, he's
exciting.
definitely the higher percentile of listeners.
I've got a question for you, Michael.
Sure. Hit me.
Are you a Friday fan?
A Friday
More
fan.
often than not, are you a Friday fan?
As much as I can, yes.
Yeah?
I'd like to think so, and probably if I went back on my statistics, yeah, I reckon. Friday
Fridays.
fan for sure.
Friday fans are the best type
Are you
of fans.
Friday morning, Friday afternoon,
Yeah,
Friday night?
When are you listening to the podcast?
Friday night's dangerous. No, Friday afternoon, usually after lunch, I'll whack it on.
Really
Super
easing you
specific.
into
Yeah,
the...
just ease it into the weekend. Yeah, it's a great way to start.
Oh, fair enough. That's actually
positive.
I do
Everyone
actually
just
find
hanging
that
around the boys.
we get a heap of downloads first thing on a Friday morning. Obviously, that's when it's like at its freshest. There's still a bit of moisture on the grass when it comes out at 8 o'clock, and then there's it dies down a little bit towards lunchtime. But then there's a resurgence.
Because
On the
You
Arvo.
come back from a few beers after lunch, bang! More downloads, ladies and gentlemen. No rhyme, no reason, but there's more downloads, and now we know why. Because Craggsy's telling all his mates to listen to the
Exactly.
podcast after lunch.
I might be one of the only ones that do watch it on YouTube, which you should watch it on YouTube. You
should
because
definitely.
You can see our beautiful
Especially
faces.
now.
Yeah,
Especially
bloody
now.
hell.
Now that we have
100%.
Michael on, we've got a bit of muscle, we've got a bit of definition.
yeah,
down.
sorry, Riley.
Usually I'm the biggest brother, but tonight...
Boys, it's been a huge week. Not a very flash week for me. The car
No, it
broke.
hasn't.
The car broke down. I haven't been able to
Oh.
drive my car since Sunday. Found out the news today that the alternator's absolutely fucking fried.
Is this the first time you've heard of what an alternator is,
Yeah, I
Jakey?
thought it was
Yeah.
going to be old alternator, one of the usual suspects of car troubles.
Quite an expensive piece of material by the sound of things as well, costing quite the few hundreds of dollars.
That's how they get you.
My car's been towed 3 times since Sunday night, which
It's
is
had a trundle.
yeah, it's
Seen
literally
some
been
sights.
it's been all over Perth without actually turning on, which is incredible. So
Doing some miles.
I'm super excited to get it back and have a nice stern word to her about why I decided to turn off. I was driving home. I left my car. Did the responsible thing on Friday after a few
Oh, this was so funny. I remember reading this in the chat.
beveraginos.
What?
So we won't get into the finer details.
If anything, it's
I'd
sensible.
we went out for lunch. The Pies played. The Pies kicked off their season opener on Friday night.
And what a game.
I was mighty excited. We also celebrated a few birthdays at work this week.
Yes.
And it got to 1:30. Everyone was a bit hungry. Like the plan was to go for lunch, but it went on a bit late. We were like, it's getting a bit late now. And so we went out for lunch, and then the rest of the day was quite the write-off, and we got a little bit tipsy, a little bit of the...
On a Friday, we love
That
to
must
hear
be
it.
nice.
Few pepperonis.
While some of us are listening to the MacPack.
Yeah, grinding hard.
Yes, I'm making content for next week's episode. That's what we're doing. And then, so the rest of the day was a write-off. Everyone left the office. I thought it was much later than it was, mainly because I was
4
obviously...
p.m.?
I was obviously much drunker than I thought I was.
How many drinks did you have? 2.
Nah, 4 pints and then a fair few when we came back. And we've got like some big... We have some high alcohol content clients, yeah. So the beers that they do, while they are beautiful and taste incredible, they're very high in alcohol content. So you can put them away real quick and then feel the effects as you hop into your car. But obviously you don't turn that car on because that would be irresponsible.
Oh my gosh.
And so on that evening, I left my car at work.
Had a little sleepover.
The car had quite a few sleepovers and has decided to not wake up since, essentially. Driving home on the Sunday, got halfway down South Street, and the thing just turned off. So literally I had the battery light appear early on, which is never a great sign.
No.
Then I had the clock and the stereo lights and stuff they were blinking, which would have been cool if I had music on, like really pulsating to the beat. I was listening to a podcast, so that was a bit fucking jarring. Then they just went black, and I was like, oh, that's not very flash. Then I had all the lights appear on the dash, and then like that, nothing. And then the window was wound all the way down, so I tried to wind that up, and it got like halfway through, like jittering.
That's when you know you're bugging.
Wasn't flash at all. I had lights that I didn't even know. Like
We're lights. You thought they were
ABS
little-
steering and stuff, like all these cool features on my car that I can't wait to give them a red hot go when I get my car back. So it wasn't very flash, had it towed and haven't had it back since.
Oh, well.
And I've also been battling. It's quite a sad story. Michael, I'm so sorry you've come on to hear Jake's problems episode.
Just an extra man to to
vent
support
to.
you.
I burnt the fuck out of my lip.
Oh, yeah. Jake's
I've
lip.
had this
I noticed
thing.
that.
It's okay now. It's not
I thought you
okay.
had-
It's just better than it was. So I had, this is after, shout out to Adam Quintiliani, who hosts a lovely, fantastic fantasy draft night that I took part in last Wednesday. Went off without a hitch. Absolutely beautiful. I came home, hadn't had dinner. And so I went to the freezer and cooked some mozzarella, cheese, and tomato balls.
Hell yeah.
The first bite I took, they're obviously tightly packed, which I was unaware of at the time. I've cracked into it, and the thing was so piping hot that the bolognese sauce hit my lip.
The sauce or the cheese?
No, the sauce, only for a second, and scarred the shit
Fucking
out
oath
of
it
my
did.
lip immediately.
It was like
I
a
walked-
beef scab.
I literally walked straight to the bathroom, looked in the mirror, and it was like white, like that wall white. Had cooked it, had to go to work the next day, and no one said anything, but it stood. Like imagine having like essentially it was like a tooth size thing, and it was the same color as a tooth, just like launched
Yeah,
there.
I saw you in the morning, and I thought you had like a cold sore or something.
I thought
It
Jake...
wasn't good.
I didn't want to ask because I was like, this guy got herpes?
Yeah, that's what I thought as well.
That I'm glad that you thought it, because literally everyone I saw for the next 24 hours obviously thought the same. And do you know how you know? Because they don't say anything. When someone
Yeah.
brings it up, you're like, oh, okay, like we can just talk about this. But when people are just like looking at you and then they like slightly look down, it's like, oh,
Past
makes you
the point
so-
where they feel sorry for you.
yeah.
It's not a bit of banter. It's like, I'm so sorry. you
Yeah,
have that.
legit.
We're
Let's
not
not
gonna
bring
bring
it
it
up.
up. We're not
Yeah.
going to bring
It's like when you get a bad haircut.
Yeah,
If
which we've
it's
mentioned before.
funny, it's funny. If they don't say anything, then you know you're fucked
a
up.
decent haircut. Someone will say, "How much do you pay for that?"
Yeah,
bad
exactly.
haircut. No one will.
No,
ask.
yeah, everyone's like, don't address the topic. It's really not good. And that's exactly the treatment I received. It then scabbed like shit the following day, which made it a little bit similar to the color palette that I normally have on my lips, but it was like crispy,
Crispy lips.
Yeah, it wasn't a good look.
not good. And slowly it's like starting to patch in now, but hasn't been a very flash week for my car nor my face. But ladies and gents, it's been a huge week for the TikTok.
Yes,
Massive.
bloody oath it has. Last week, we were like, oh, we're TikTok famous, we got 4,000 views.
That was on all of our TikToks.
Yeah, it was like almost total. And the next morning we woke up, what was it at actually? I can't remember. It was like 8, 9K. We had predictions going into sleeping, and I said like 7. Jake said, I don't even know.
I think I went pretty high. I think I went 9.
And then by that night, was it 10K? It's
Yep.
currently at just under 16K. And then we put up a TikTok a few days later, the tomato sauce one.
Yeah, just trying to test the waters a bit.
13K at the moment.
So we've had a big couple of weeks, and I'm sure
What?
the topic that we'll address later on will also have probably by
Some
the looks.
TikTok potential.
Yeah, essentially, that's what we're looking for.
Craggs is going to do the renegade later.
Radio boys. We've got the great man sitting here to my left, and we've all met him in different stages of our lives. Shall we talk about it?
Nah.
Okay.
I've got the wrong. Butch, that would have been funny.
That could have been good.
Anyway,
Which one were you going for?
I was going for the drums. I thought we were just going to
okay.
call it.
Well,
on
you
the
know
side.
which ones.
Which one's the drums are blue? Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. So
So shall we chat about it? Tell
We
us some
shall.
stories. How did we meet the great man to my left?
Should we do it in chronological order?
yeah. All right, let's do it.
That
All
sounds
right.
good.
So I was in year 7. Now it's my first week of year 7. I would have.
What year is this?
Yeah, I was thinking. I think it's 2008. 2009. A young boy starting at a new school, the fresh-faced year 7.
And the first year 7's the school it ever had.
Yeah, so we were like,
The youngest.
yeah, we're genuine virgins.
We were ready for you guys.
Yeah.
The whole school was ready
Actually?
to make sure
We've got
that
some
we knew.
virgins coming in.
Don't take that out of context. Anybody.
And then, so obviously we all started and we're all quite nervous. Like it's the new school. We had all the
Just
new.
talking about that, those year 8s got a massive
Oh,
pass.
massive.
Imagine being they didn't like us. I don't think they ever liked us because imagine starting the same school at the same time as us. We got laptops. We got a brand new building. We walked into a building and basically had to take like the plastic off the desks and stuff, and like they've just walked into like a shitty old.
Of foundation, the
Yeah.
oldest building.
Don't get any computers. Don't get any nothing, and it's just like you just missed out. Tough. Now they also missed out on a beautiful relationship with Mr.
No.
Michael Craggs.
Oh.
So in year 7, it's week 1. I vividly remember my teacher. Do we mention names of teachers? We'll go.
Depends if it's
Keep,
good or not.
keep the initialization, I reckon.
So yeah.
My initials are good, yeah.
So it was Susie.
It's not initials.
Susie Bananas. Susie Bananas.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good. And she was reading out the notices, obviously, at this point in time. And the basketball chat come up. It was just like, oh, Corpus Christi have a basketball team. There's tryouts on at this day.
Oh yeah.
As a fresh-faced kid, you're not trying to put your hand up for too many things, but basketball's always been a bit of a calling.
Oh.
Like, oh yeah, I can fucking run down, make a few friends.
Back when the knees were intact.
Yeah, good times. And like I can add a bit of value to this. And so I went down. And I vividly remember going down and we had one coach there. We won't name his name because I don't know.
Anyway.
That's what we do. And Michael, you were actually the assistant coach at the time.
I was, yes.
And
Second in charge.
you brought a level of I would call it like jovialness to the role, where the other dude was quite serious because obviously he's the head coach, so no fucking round, all right. Michael, he was a bit more laid back, which
Good cop, bad cop.
still
A little bit.
It's just like
more like experienced cop, no idea what he's doing.
which is often the case in most good cop dramas. And you had
how old were you at this point?
What year were you?
he was
in?
in year 10.
10, yeah.
With the moon boot on.
Fuck, he's old.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So, yeah, moon boot on.
And so that was like
I was in year 1.
no way.
Wow. Because I started primary when Jake started high.
That's
Wowee. And so yeah, Michael, because he had the moon boot on, he became like iconic, like the same
The
way.
guy
As,
with the moon.
yeah, literally, like because all of like my mates were like, oh yeah, and then there's like that Michael guy who
Like
and
Neil Armstrong-esque.
like you need something that will stand apart. Like if Michael didn't have an arm, it would be like, oh, the guy that didn't have an arm. You got to have something that separates you from the rest. And so his was his moon boot. And And like when you're the younger kid, like we had no friends. We hardly even had.
Speak for yourself.
We hardly had friends in our own year group. Like you had the kids that you've come through primary school
Yeah.
with, and that's like it. You're not really trying to meet. You're trying to meet other people.
But it's hard.
Yeah, fuck yeah. And so when you're sort of like forced to have a relationship with one of the older kids, that's like a bit of a force. But like, no,
have
but
a
like,
relationship.
when like one of the older dudes is like,
Not whistling suicides at you, going, "You have to be my friend."
be my friend or run. And it was essentially just like that. Like we were built in a way in which it was like, oh, well, now we know one of the older kids. That's gonna be cool. That's gonna build up our like, not status, but like,
Yeah.
it's
I
a
know what
cool,
you
it's a
mean.
cool association to have.
And you can get like the head knot from one of the year
Yeah,
year 10s
and Michael
walking
used
through
to
the
dish
hole.
out the head nods. Whether it was a limp from his foot or it was a head nod, we'll never quite know. But it looked like a head nod when he was just like limping one way. But yeah, more or less. So it was good to have somebody in that older older
demographic.
I was going to say generation,
Senior
but it's not quite that. You're not quite that old.
It was a pre-iPad generation.
Yeah,
Pre-iMac
Oh.
generation.
Yeah, we were the eyes, and these were paper and pen type setups.
Shocker.
Long division setup.
So yeah, so that's how my first interaction with Michael went. Obviously, then we were good mates. Like you used to pull me aside, and we'd have specific chats that weren't related to the team. They were more just like J-Mac focused, which I appreciated, like leading the team out, 30, 40 points a game. Someone's
100%.
Someone's got to chat to the franchise player, I guess.
Got to keep him happy.
There was talks of you leaving to go to St. Norbert. Penny to shut down.
He used to give me like lolly bags, that just like tucked away. He used to hide them when we get to games. Like you're obviously not allowed. Same with the NCAA, you're not allowed to show any payments, right?
Yeah.
He used to hide lollies in his moon boot. He didn't even need a moon
no.
boot. It was just for bribes. He just put money and lollies and stuff down
The
his
amount
moon
of things
boot.
smuggled in that moon boot over the years. And it came out for a few years as well. It wasn't just that one.
Boy.
And then obviously I've started at the movie theater place.
cinema.
Yeah, the nameless theatre.
The nameless theater. And Michael, incredibly, like I knew he worked there. I actually went and saw Paranormal Activity
Oh, you baller.
when I was in. This is a few years later. So me and Michael had quite a relationship, coaching player relationship for those listening. And this is like a few years later. Michael was still the assistant coach, and I was still the franchise player. And then I've obviously gone to the movies, and I vividly remember you walking up the stairs. There was a bit of a commotion down the front, and there are a few little hoodlums.
Rat bags.
What did we call them last week? The Bayswater hoodlums or something along Baldivers.
Baldivers
Yeah,
youths.
they were basically Baldivers. Someone similar to a Baldivers youth was down the front, just carrying on. Just really carrying on. We're trying to watch the movie. They're carrying on. And I vividly remember Michael walking in. And when you're young, you perceive, we were in year 9, year 10, you sort of perceive him to be like quite a domineering figure.
Like a security
You would have been
guard.
like 17 and you had a word to these kids. It was basically like, if you don't shut up, I could hear you. Like you weren't quiet about it. You pulled him out of the chair, stood him on the stairs and said, if you don't shut up, we're going to have to ask you to leave. But you said it in a way in which the kid like dacked up and was like, oh, yeah, no, sorry, man.
I got you, bro.
I'm being an idiot. I'm a Baldivers youth. I'm being a bloody idiot. And then he just sat down and he just shut up. And like everyone in my year group, first of all, you knew who you were. And second, we were like, oh, he handled that well, and it was well respected. So that was pretty cool. But then it was only a few months later, applied for the gig at said movie cinema at Garden City. That limits it. And
Oh no.
join the dots. And then by chance, Michael was the first person I saw when I walked through the doors, and I was like, that's quite a daunting time as well when you're starting
First
in a new
shift.
place again.
Oh, first shift.
Yeah, first shift, first time I'd walked in the complex, like as a employee. And so he was there, and I just felt a sense of comfort with that, because it was very much like he was there first week when I started high school, and he was there first day when I started at the new job.
And when did you start there?
2013.
You started at
March 2013.
So I would have been there
8 years
4
ago.
years
That's a long
from
time.
that point. So I should have been a senior member. Wasn't a senior member.
Wait,
I
you
should have
started
at the court.
in 2009.
Or maybe 2010.
What
Maybe
movies were out in
Shit.
2010, dude?
The first Avengers.
Yeah.
That may have been pre-Avenger. That may have been
Yeah, I think it was.
Iron Man.
Yeah.
The
yeah.
first one.
2008.
Yeah.
Because
Iron Man, I think
Or maybe Iron
when
Man
I
2.
when I started, Iron Man 3 was out. Like that was one of the first things that they put out when I was there.
Damn.
How did you meet Michael? How did you come across Michael?
So we flash forward to 2015. My very first shift as well.
Oh, wow.
You've
I don't
named
even
the,
know.
you've named
named
the
it.
complex.
Fuck.
You've
Beep
named
that
it.
out. Just beep that out.
It's out of the bag.
Extra editing. All right,
It's out of the
continue.
bag.
Yeah, so it was my first shift, and I walked down, and there Michael was as well. It was the only shift we ever had together.
Oh no.
And
You're kidding.
It was a half-hour overlap. I think you finished at 5:30. I started at 5,
Good
and then
man.
Jake started at 6.
That sounds cute. What a fucking
very
what a
cute.
time to be alive at the
Big
movie
three.
center that we're not going to name. Jesus.
Really?
A
Only
place
one?
to be.
Guess
I
what?
believe so, because
Only
I think
half an
you
hour.
left after that.
Oh, not by
He
me,
didn't
sure.
leave.
Wow, you were.
He didn't leave is a very gracious way to say he got
You were
asked. You missed the first few letters. Asked to leave.
It was but yeah, it was my first shift, and we had our induction and stuff prior to that. And I had heard tales from Jake from working there about the infamous sweep under.
Ooh.
Oh, we're going.
Oh, no. Now we
Which
really
was
have to
a
beef the name
which
out.
is a-
We're in for a penny, in for a pound at this point.
Which was a technique, an old technique
This
where
is not good.
Was this around?
Were we still using popcorn boxes at that point?
No, nah. They
No,
stopped.
no,
They
no,
stopped.
no.
I'd never used a
Brooms.
popcorn.
Oh, wow.
box. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's
Yeah.
a throwback.
Yeah.
What's pop? What do you mean you use popcorn boxes?
oh,
Go
Let
on.
me tell you
Go
a
on,
story,
here we
young
go.
man.
Here we go.
Before brooms were introduced, before brooms migrated from
Oh,
back
what
of,
did they used to
back
have?
of candy bar to floor,
Yeah.
popcorn boxes were unfolded, nice sharp edge,
they were multi-use.
straight under the seat. So we'd find popcorn boxes in the cinema
Yeah.
Oh,
and then
We got
sweep
two-
it under the seat. Only
Was that
only
the-
when it was necessary, which was pretty much 99% of the time.
Every time. It used to be busy,
you know
man.
what? That makes sense. There was an older employee who I'd never seen her on floor ever.
Can we just get a name that's not her name but starts with the same letter so we know?
Haley? She was always on.
Oh,
she was
yep,
always
yep,
on
yep,
Candy
yep,
Bar.
yep. Friday night
Yep.
specialist.
Yes.
She was
yes.
always on Candy Bar. One night, me and Jake and her had a floor shift together, and yeah, she was using the bucket.
Yeah.
And I was like, "What?
100%.
Why
I
don't you just
don't
go and get a
remember 100%.
broom?"
I don't remember this
It's
time.
old habits die hard.
But yeah,
Mind you, she wouldn't have had a shift in between on floor where she had to use the sweeps.
You can't pick up every single bit of popcorn when you've
They're
got
minuscule.
a 3-minute
Yeah.
turnaround
Yeah.
for Avengers. I tried saying that multiple times. Got fired for it.
no, it wasn't for that.
It wasn't that.
but yeah, it
Yes.
was my first shift. At
So
the
now
end-
he just walks around a different Perth podcast just shouting out, no, they're shit, man. They're shit.
the induction, they were like, no sweeping under, no sweeping under. It was like the main thing they talked about. And I had heard stuff from my older brother about the famous sweep under. And then
They tried to phase it out so often.
Because I got in there, and then there was like signs on the door like, no,
No
we're
sweeping.
doing it out. And then I asked you, I was like, so like, do we sweep under? And you're like, yeah, just not the big stuff.
Yeah, just
Big
not
stuff.
like full cups of Coke
I
and
didn't.
shit.
I didn't get the map. Yeah. No.
Use your
Cokes.
common
Just
sense.
popcorn.
Common,
Yeah,
sense.
common sense.
I think it got to a point when it used to be real busy, like Chris. Don't worry. Riley, when was the first time you saw the big man?
This is in very different speeds. I remember I saw a man. It was in my. I think it was Michael. No, it was in my year 7 athletics carnival, my first athletics carnival. I saw this guy, still in a moon boot, walking just through the.
Always in costume, isn't
Always
he?
in
Always
costume.
in costume.
He obviously wasn't in uniform because he graduated like 6 years ago, maybe more.
No, I mean his moon boot is his uniform.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Possibly the same moon boot from 5 years prior.
Did it have lollies and cash hanging out the
I
side?
don't recall those details, but I remember just walking around because I wasn't in many events. Pretty bad at the
Oh,
Arts
this is
Carnival.
Arts Carnival.
Yeah, and then I remember seeing a guy in a moon boot, and I was like, oh, he must be like. Well, usually like some dads and like some mums come sometimes. I didn't think he was that old, but I was
relegated to that age already.
I was kind of like, what's his story? you
Whose
know?
grandpa's here?
And then like a week or two later, I remember like talking to Jake about something that happened at the athletics carnival, And then Jake was like, "Oh, did you see Craggs?"
Yeah, because Craggsy
was
used to
like-
go down.
He was
Do
like,
you
"Yeah,
still go down?
Craggs goes down because he wants to protect his record." He talked shit to the
Which
little
is
kids.
why I distract people with the lollies and like coming from the boot.
You don't want that record. Here's a snake. Not that snake.
No, usually.
Whoa. So what were you doing there?
Sometimes, especially the years. A few years after I left, Mr. H, Mr. Harry,
Yeah.
just invited me back because I was doing coaching athletics
okay.
at the time for the school.
Adjacent, yeah.
That makes sense.
So what we used to do was do coaching prior to the carnival.
Still doing that
oh,
now.
yeah, yeah.
I
Still
remember
doing
seeing
that
you
now?
a few weeks ago. Well, not a few weeks, a few months ago, actually.
Well, yeah, end of last year, pretty much.
Yeah.
Is that when you go
Marauding for after getting fouled out of your
Yeah.
basketball game.
without a shirt?
Shirtless.
Shredded.
Wait, what?
I heard about this. I heard about this.
It was our year 12 boys semi-final
This is
against
good. This is a
like
good
Seton
story.
or some trash school.
Some Baldivers youths running amok.
And then like I remember one of the big boys who's like good at basketball came over to me before the start of the game and was like, "Oh, this is your game, you know, you got to show up."
Hell yeah.
Proceeded to foul out of the game very slowly. I fouled at the start of every quarter, one foul, and then eventually I got two. And then
Was this when you were going to be
Found
late
out.
to work?
Yep.
Yeah. So there was a bit of a
Shift at
conspiracy after I asked him where are you off to in a hurry. He
Shift
goes,
gate.
Uni. Yeah. Intentionally gets fouled out.
I gotta chuff off.
to
Just
chuff.
punched a kid so I can get to work on time.
Yeah, I was a shocker. But yeah, I was walking across the oval and like I was dripping with sweat. And then I was like, I had to get
And
changed.
arrogance by the sound.
Glistening. Shorts probably an inch lower than it had to be.
I had to still get changed for work. So then I just decided.
So you just
take
decided
my
the
basketball
oval was
kit
where
off.
you would do that?
I just had my shorts on and just walked across the oval.
Without
Barefoot.
It was
bare-
baller.
No shirt.
I
I
vivid-
didn't expect anyone to be there except for Craggsy and like the whole athletics squad.
Michael texted me when you did it like that. I think it was in the delicious. No, it might have been. I think it was either before a basketball game or in the delicious chat, and he was just like, "Hey Jake, just seen Riley strutting around. Maybe tell him to chuck a shirt on if he's gonna be seen in public."
Fair enough.
Just like with a stomach that you could grate cheese on. Was,
Oh.
I think
Oh.
the
Thank you, boys.
A bit of mozzarella in those little cheese balls that you put your tongue on.
you
before.
could, the ref was busy counting the fouls and the girls were busy counting the abs.
Hey.
All right, boys. Obviously, it's a massive episode. We got our first guest on the show, and it'd be remiss of us if we didn't delve into some stories that he's obviously
some deep
Stories from the
cuts.
past.
that he has no idea that we're aware of.
That we even know.
None.
I
I know you know. You're about to bring them up. However,
we put the feelers out yesterday. We obviously threw up a little story which Michael loved on our MacPack podcast Instagram account, which if you're not following already, head to. And we basically asked the question if people had any stories or any questions that they wanted to ask the man. There was less questions, but a lot of stories, which I really did appreciate.
Yeah. Heaps of good ones.
I'd
too.
much rather questions because I can
A lot of-
control the narrative a little bit.
That's a good point.
Of all the stories, I think I'd only heard 2 of them prior.
Yeah, I think I was there for two.
no.
I think I was there for 2 of them, but the rest,
Definitely.
Yeah, no, same, yeah.
completely oblivious to me. So,
Here we go.
is it true, Michael, that you used to get walked around as a child? Obviously, hopefully not so much today. Similar to a dog on a leash.
Discuss.
What do you guys believe? True or false?
I think
True. It's true.
that does not sound
Why would
too
someone
far
make that
fetched.
up?
Yeah, that's also a good question. Yes, true.
It's true. Why? Why was that? Were you just?
Because I
Is that why you had to wear a moon boot? Was that your mum's way of going, well, you can't
He's
put
gonna
him on a
slow him
leash
down.
anymore. We'll just give him a moon boot.
I'll come back to that because that's not far from the truth. Backpack. A little backpack with a leash connected to the back of said backpack.
You call it the backpack, like the backpack is
The-
the most
the
important
backpack.
part.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
a
the
leash.
I
in the
used to
backpack?
run off.
Yeah, what was in the backpack?
a leash.
Yeah, leash connect.
More leash.
A longer leash.
Extended leashes you give to dogs that can go like 50 meters.
It's like when people go bungee jumping, they're not like, well, I better put my backpack on.
Yeah, that's essentially what you've said.
It was insurance for my parents.
In case you ran away. You
I
always
was-
were an athlete.
I was a notorious runner.
That's why he's got so many records at high school. So you know when you do those resistance running, and like people are holding you back. He's just built his quads and his calves ever since he was a child. He's been trying to run out of that leash. His mum's got the longest. He's the
Yeah,
strongest.
well, your mum's jacked.
My mum lifts weights. She's not bad.
And
Well,
what age are we talking?
Oh,
16.
like still high school. I believe it was maybe 4 or 5, maybe even.
It's so older than that. It's obviously older than that.
I would have
It's
to get.
obviously older than
I
that.
would have to get an age check. I think it's about 4 or 5. Just because at that point you're a little bit, you can't be carried anymore. You have to be walked, otherwise you look a bit weird. Mum's not the.
Oh, he looks
the
weird.
tallest.
I'm going to get the leash.
My kid looks too weird. I'll put him on a leash. That'll make him fit in.
Apparently there was a few near-death experiences.
Oh, that's really more serious.
From me that forced them into their hand. Apparently
shit.
South Street.
What, you were just run out?
Yeah, we were just walking on the path and I just darted onto the road. So
Like
I
a
think,
madman.
yeah.
Always have been quite the risk taker. Speaking of risk taking, now if we have a photo of this backpack / leash, Riley, we'll chuck it here if we get it. If not, it's just me holding up my hand for those playing along at home. You're obviously taking a fair few risks. This was one of the best risks that I've ever seen you take. It was the night of a lovely girl from the movie cinema's 21st. We ended up back at your place with quite a group of people. And it was at that point, Michael's got quite a good golf career. And
Oh, he does.
He's a fantastic golfer for those playing along at home. And he's extraordinarily accurate with a driver. Some would say too accurate. And some of the targets that he's able to hit, we don't even know that. We don't even know they're there. We've got me and Joe are both there. We've got a dual angle. I've got the
multifaceted camera angle.
I've
on
got
this
the
one.
end-to-end AFL angle, and Joe's gone for more of a side-on angle. So we'll get the end-on end here, and we'll get the side-on one here. Essentially, what's happening is Michael's quite nervous about. He's excited, but quite nervous about swinging this golf club.
Very nervous. Not
the
my
plan-
idea. Just
what was the
FYI.
plan?
The plan was to hit said person on the bum.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
we've got a young man who won't mention us naming him. Luke Turley's squatted, crouched. He's quite intoxicated at this time, which is about the only time you ever want. You need to be heavily intoxicated in order to stand or sit or squat
That position.
literally 3 meters away from a man with a Callaway driver.
Was it an actual golf ball?
Yeah,
it was an actual golf ball,
yeah, it was. And Luke had a wine glass, which became more apparent after the fact than it did prior to, and he just placed that just to his right.
A nice half glass of Shiraz.
And my God, did that shit spit? Michael's hit the golf ball at quite a rate.
I thought it was more like a mini putt stroke, but according to the video, it definitely
had
was
some
not.
pace.
Yeah, it
fuck
went
me.
quick.
It came off hot.
It went quick. And
I was
favorite,
landing on the green.
my favorite part was the first bit of the thing. You you strut around going, I don't think this is a good idea. And you even turn to me and go, this thing goes 300 yards. Don't know about this being a good idea.
How far away were you from Turtle?
But peer pressure,
Yeah, about that.
Yeah,
not far.
Best.
Peer pressure adds into it because it's literally just like
300 centimeters.
Turley and I shouting out, do it, do it, do it, do it. And then he hits, and some chick screams as the glass shoots all this wine into the air. And Luke, from your angle, Luke turns to the camera and he's just like, what the fuck? Like, I think
That would have happened to his butthole.
Yeah, I think he was so drunk he must have thought the wine had, like the golf ball had gone up his ass and spat the wine out of his mouth. One of the all-time videos. I've never had so much
Interaction.
on Instagram. Put that up the following morning, because this was obviously late. This is like 1, 2 a.m.
Yeah.
The following morning, DMs just like bang. Like I just kept scrolling. And it was people that I'd met, people I've never met, people I've never spoken to. Going, that was fucking all time. What a shot. That was so funny. I'm pissing. I haven't stopped watching this all morning. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Absolutely all time.
looking back on it, and from what my friends told me, they thought that the wine was between his legs.
Oh,
Which
that
I
would be
feel as
impressive.
though is a
would be
lot
impressive.
more impressive than completely missing him and actually hitting out of bounds on
the
his
floor.
right
Oh,
on the floor.
imagine if it was in between his legs. Just clips a nut as it goes through.
Or like glass goes.
Oh, it was. We thought it was wine. It turned out it was his Turley's testes.
And speaking of Craggs' immaculate aim, so I hear that you're an athlete. You took that into uni with a little club with a sport, 10-pin bowling.
Yeah, you're
yes.
uni games specialist for 10-pin bowling.
Yes, went to uni games once.
That's enough.
That was more than enough. Thought I was going to go over for athletics. I was getting back into athletics at the time. Ended up doing my knee.
Oh,
Right,
Not
so
good. We've all been there.
all been there.
Yeah.
I think this one was a fractured kneecap.
Nice.
think.
oh,
Yeah,
that's
so
tough
it
to
wasn't
do.
good.
Do you know what would have prevented that? If you had been on a leash.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of just hosed around. But no, ended up going over with a few mates, doing 10-pin bowling with a nice brace on my leg, and that was fun as anything.
Oh yeah.
And what did you like? What's the best game you've had?
Perfect.
Wouldn't have been when you're
Best
over there.
game, I think 210.
So
Not
good.
the best.
that's
Not the
pretty good.
best.
That's
Not the
decent.
best.
The
It's
highest you can
Decent.
get is 300.
Yeah, I think it was 7 strikes or 6 strikes maybe. But
That's a
I missed,
good-
I missed
And you
some
only
of the
went
spares.
once, or like?
I only went once over. I think it was Queensland at the time. It was. But if
Your
anyone-
eyes are lighting up like you're gonna
if anyone-
head by the
if
looks of things.
anyone does have any sport that they want to do at uni games, 10-pin bowling is up there because it is the only sport you get a nice air-conditioned room.
Don't have to
Get
do any
hot
training.
dogs.
You're usually perched up next to hot chips.
Oh, jeez. I thought you were gonna say
something else.
how many hot chicks watch 10-pin?
Participated. None. From what I saw.
It's so many chips.
So many
So
chips.
many.
When we were in Queensland, there was a pub 50 meters down the road, and you used to have a game against
Plenty hot chips in there.
plenty of hot chips. A few pokies as well back then. But yeah, you had a game. You'd just have one game, piss off for half an hour
Mate.
before the next game, and you just come back. So people just sleep. Obviously, you went out. People were just sleeping on the carpet. The whole thing's
The
booked out. The whole
loosest thing.
thing. The whole thing's booked out for
For the
uni
Oh, for the
games,
whole
right?
like, weekend
Yeah.
or whatever.
It's
and
like
yeah.
levers, but for uni games.
Yeah, pretty much.
But for 10-pin bowling.
Oh, yeah.
And so we used to, I think one of the nights, or one of the days, we finished early, had a look around at, I think it was the second last day. So people were starting to like really push. And you had teams vying for finals, you know, the actual sport teams that were.
And you were
Don't
just
write
like-
yourself
really-
off,
and
mate.
you were just like,
really
these,
wanted
these
to-
chips are fucking good.
If we win tonight, boys, we get more chips tomorrow.
But it's so interesting because you had the schools or the universities that, let's say, actually did football and then the universities that didn't. So you'd have them trying to figure out how do we field 18 players because half of them were just on the floor going, no,
Yeah.
no.
We've actually got some 10-pin bowlers. They're prime. They're ready to go.
Yeah, if anyone does want a sport to go over uni games for,
10-pin
10-pin
bowling.
And it's fun. You get together. It's something you can do on a Monday night. Just
There you go.
$5 emus. Unreal.
That's
And
what
a
you
bunch
want.
of chips.
Now, is it true that the $5 emus have gotten you in strife previously? You vomited. You went to a girl's house. Let's call her
I know the one.
Elizabeth.
Yeah, that's
We'll
a good
call
one.
her Elizabeth.
Don't go to E name.
Yeah, that was definitely done before.
Yeah, we've used Elizabeth before.
Quick MacPack
So
trivia question.
You've been at her. The story goes. The story was sent to you. This one. Go.
So
Speak.
so you were at her grandma's house,
Yeah, boy.
and apparently the mood was lovely, and then you ended up ruining it by throwing up.
a double meat pie from what I remember.
Oh, nice.
Apparently, Granny was not too happy with the.
Was she home at the time?
No, she
Okay.
was not. No,
That would have
no,
been weird.
not home at the time. Yeah, double meat pie on the lounge room floor, I believe, or could have been better. Nah, I think it was lounge room floor.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's where you want
Nah.
most of your meat pie leftovers to go.
It was not ideal. Definitely meat pies while drinking is not the best
And
combination.
you're going with 2, which is ambitious.
Yeah, very ambitious.
He's a
That
big boy.
was- Yeah,
One doesn't do
there's-
the job.
There's a reason why chicken parma and,
two-
possibly pizza is your go-to pub food
Over the meat pie.
over the meat,
Yeah.
over the double
And I
meat
love that.
pie.
So,
Over
like,
double.
Over the double meat.
so like you go back. I'm assuming it was just the 2 of you, and then you're like, wait. Let me get 2 pies in the oven.
Oh no! This was prior. This was prior to going
okay.
out. Prior to going out. No.
What do you think he came
I
back
thought
to?
he like cooked them up.
At the man's house.
Romantic
Yeah.
double meat pie.
He went,
Hang on, you're not going to eat yours? Oh, okay, I'll have that.
yeah. Oh, your nan got any Mrs. Max in the freezer?
Oh my lord. Well, Mrs. Max
Yeah.
obviously not the secret, but I have heard the secret to strength, and apparently you were in the news for this little trick of the trade, this little encapsulated secret. Mrs. Max might not give you muscles, but apparently honey soy chicken does.
Honey soy chicken.
Apparently, it's the secret to being strong.
Apparently you're on the news or newspaper or something.
There was an article written whereby you were interviewed.
Here we go. You remember.
Yeah, I remember. What year was this? This was probably like year 10, maybe. I don't know. They did just the
Back in his-
generic questions on if you could solve one problem in the world, what would it be? And of course, you'd say world peace or something like that, right?
Not this
And
guy.
then- this one.
He's got stocks in honey soy chicken.
If I can find the article, I will send it through to you.
That would be
It is
huge.
interesting reading, looking back at it.
Why were you interviewed?
Oh, I think
Young boy gets off leash. Hear his
I
story.
believe it was 5 gold medals at state championship.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, he pretended like he didn't know. All along.
He's got all. If I can find an article, it's just all over his bedroom
your
wall.
wall.
He's got so many copies of
Actually
it.
copied it multiple times in different languages as well. No, I was confused with another story about roast beef. I don't know what that.
Go on.
I've spilt this one to you guys.
Yeah, that sounds
No, there was just a joke going around in my year group at school that was
Class
someone
of
class of
2006.
2011.
Oh.
2000 that old, not
2006
middle aged
from the
yet.
Oh.
Yet close. But no, apparently one gentleman, which I actually can't remember his name. No, actually can't.
The arrogance on the man.
One of my fans.
Apparently, I was in the shops. I think it was IGA or Coles or whatever
Hell
it was
yeah.
at the time.
Or was it Juice back then?
Yeah, possibly. But my
You're so old.
my sister asked my mum what is for dinner. Right?
question.
I asked my mum what was for dinner.
She looked at you
And she
honey
says-
soy chicken and wings.
she says something like chicken rice or something like that, right?
Hell yeah, a classic.
Something staple, yeah. And then my sister goes, "No, Michael, roast beef." And that's literally the story. But that resonates with me so much.
What is that? I thought you said something about you being in class.
No. There's someone in my class said this when he was at the store.
Wait, what?
So, do you want to start again?
Yeah, maybe.
We're
We're not cutting it. We're not cutting any of this out.
story
This is all
is it
good.
you and your sister. It's
Me, my sister, and
And
my
some.
mum.
Oh,
And my mum.
And who's this?
and then who's the other guy?
Who's the
It's just
Juicens?
someone from school in my year.
But how does he know? How does he know this story?
It's a shopping centre. Sometimes you're just on a separate aisle from someone else.
was
You're
he-
like
oh, he
peering
heard
between
this.
the aisles.
Yeah.
Apparently,
The
just heard it.
paparazzi.
It was the same reporter, the soy chicken. I thought he said he only ate soy chicken.
No, but that was such a running gag for so many years. My initial reaction to that, what you brought up,
Oh,
the honey
right,
soy
right.
chicken, was the roast beef story.
We've got a couple more. We'll go quick with these ones. There's apparently you were part of a bomb scare at an airport, which with the beard that you're shaping at the moment doesn't surprise me a great deal.
I don't remember the bomb scare.
So you left your luggage in the US.
We'll remind you.
yeah, sure.
We'll tell you.
You left your luggage in the US, which resulted in a bomb scare.
So you apparently you left it on the spinny gate thing and then disappeared.
Oh yes.
And then when you went,
Yes.
and then it just you came back for it, and then you couldn't identify whether that was your bag or not, which is
Yeah,
quite a
yeah.
dodgy.
Anyone that knows me, I'm sure you guys
little
know
bit.
this as
This is
well.
the first time we
is
met, but-
is the fact that I
Enjoying
am
the moment.
I am a very forgetful person.
You should have leashed you to your luggage.
Extremely forgetful person. Imagine being like magnetically leashed to your luggage and it spins around the
no.
conveyor.
You like Toy Story.
It's the scene in Toy Story and Michael's just in the back.
That would have helped. But yes, no, I do remember that now. Yeah, bomb scare.
All right, we've got a couple more. We'll quickly just bang through these ones. So we've got a story about when you went swimming across. Is that the Swan River? You went swimming across
Yes, it was.
Yeah,
from,
it's all the Swan. I
from
think.
Karina Haywood's to old mate's joint.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You swam. That's quite a distance to swim.
And
It was Australia-
after a big Australia. Oh,
Yeah, it was
there's
Australia Day as well.
a Hot 100 day. I don't
Yeah.
know who was
100,
the
possibly one of the two. Don't want to get those
I think, yeah.
too confused in this day and age. But no, I think it was
Episode 26. The
three-
boys get cancelled.
we're moving to the US. No, I think.
But after the bombs goes.
yeah, you're not allowed back.
I'm actually blacklisted. Yeah, I think it's maybe 300, 400 meters.
No, it was
not-
longer than that.
No, it's actually not that far.
Is there sharks in that?
300,
No,
400
there's
meters.
There's definitely jellyfish.
Didn't I see a shark there when I went down for dinner the other day?
Yeah, sometimes sharks, but there's
Yeah.
not much sharks in there.
I mean, if look,
It's not shark infested.
you would have
300
to be severely unlucky
Yeah.
to get nipped.
collected.
But by the way, 300 to 400 meters swimming is fucked.
It's all right.
Not that far.
Bit of survival
Oh.
backstroke.
And after a big day of drinking,
After that helps.
Yeah.
And
But,
as long as he hasn't had any meat pies.
a bit of floating.
He would have been fine. We also have one final one. Yeah, we have one final one. This is back at your movie theater days. Now, the girl who sent this one in was underage at the time, and someone had vomited in the toilet.
Oh, I'm glad it's this story.
And
Joking.
what did you say?
I said I'm glad it's this story.
And then so the person has vomited and he's headed in to the chick realistically when you're young at the movie theater center, it's sort of on you to do all the shit jobs.
yeah, of course.
What
That's why they pay you the big bucks.
$9 and then that's why I'm still there after 8 years because I haven't done a single thing for 4. And then so obviously this guy, so that the girl was pretty young at the time, and normally that would be your job, like someone's vomiting, you're on that. But this guy stepped up and was like, you know what, you're not even 18 yet, you shouldn't legally be able to do this. I'm gonna step in, I'm gonna be the hero, not the everyday hero, just today's hero. Explain.
I don't, and this is a problem at the time. I don't think it was just
Vomit.
No, I don't think it was a vomit.
Oh.
I believe the story goes it was a little bit more than that, and I think legally they're not allowed to touch it at
okay.
all. So
Oh, that's gone into a weird topic.
Wait, are we describing it?
Nope. No. Nah, we can just
Oh,
we can
okay.
make the
slushy-esque. It was
Oh,
not.
boy.
It was not fun. But as a 16-year-old girl, you can't be dealing with that. Not at all.
Fair enough.
Interesting.
Leave that to
She
the
went on to say that she was super stoked, and her hearing you dry reach from where she was standing was enough.
Oh,
for
it was
her,
terrible.
for her to know that she didn't want to go in there. So you took a bullet for the team. So well done, Michael.
Cheers.
See, the roast wasn't too bad.
Not too bad.
All right, boys. We obviously chucked out the question this week. It's not a hot take. It's just a little.
It's a question.
It's just a question. It's a would
It's a
you?
debate.
It's a would you rather. It's this or that.
It's a worldwide debate.
This week's was Coke v Pepsi.
What do we reckon, boys?
I'm big on the Coke.
It's got to be Coke.
Riley.
Pepsi.
Whoa.
Bang.
Whoa. And Craggs.
So I had a little bit of backlash from the three of you when I brought this up before.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Michael's very
He's
good.
always got weird.
Michael's good at
I've always-
bringing
he's-
up some.
You ask him two things,
And he
and
goes-
he don't have a straight answer.
Yeah, he brings
No
in
straight-
6
no
other
straight
options.
answers. Pepsi Max.
in the pantry.
all fridge. Pepsi Max over Coke Zero. for the sugarless variety, but then Coke over Pepsi for the sugar
Variety.
variety.
No one asked that.
It's crazy.
It's interesting. We had 70% of people. We did the poll. We had over 130 people ping in their answers. We had 70% of people say Coke and 30% of people say Pepsi. A lot of those people were in your boat, though, the ones that said Pepsi. They then clarified and said,
Pepsi
not
Max.
like Pepsi, like Pepsi Max, obviously.
Yeah, they're two separate drinks.
See, I'm not a Pepsi guy, so like I don't know the difference between
I
Pepsi versus
couldn't
Pepsi
tell
You
Max.
could almost, if you go down the supermarket and try to find your Pepsi or Pepsi Max, you'll find more Pepsi Max on the shelf than you would Pepsi. There's like less coverage
right.
of
Yeah.
Pepsi.
Oh.
See, so Pepsi Max is better than Pepsi, but Coke is way better than Coke No Sugar
like
or
90%.
Diet Coke.
Yeah, definitely.
That's interesting. Why don't they just? I guess maybe they have. Maybe they've sort of secretly taken that path.
Well, Max sounds cool.
Yeah.
What
very
what
much.
gets me about the Max Pepsi Max? So you got Coke Zero or no sugar, but at the time it was Coke Zero, which is zero, literally
Yeah.
nothing. And Pepsi Max has gone. Yeah, you get maximum no
Yeah.
maximum no sugar.
We take the amount of sugar that you don't have, and it's the max of it.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
doesn't
it's
make
like
a huge amount
max
of sense.
energy, no sugar. I
I'm
think that's
actually-
the-
Yeah, it must be because it doesn't make sense for it to.
no. It just sounds cool.
We had Joel Weir who messaged through and goes Pepsi Max. I don't know how they do it, but that's the superior cola. So he reckons that's the best of all.
Maybe
I
we
agree
gotta
with
get
that.
on the max.
Yeah, 100%.
Might have to give it a red hot crack. Alex Cheesy went all the way cum boys. I think I think he meant all the way Coke boys. I'm the biggest Coke drinker in the world. I hope that
that was an autocorrect.
if it had have gone the other way, it would have gone okay, let's read it out. So it auto corrected the right way. So it auto corrected how I read it. If it had have auto corrected the other way around, it would have read like this. All the way Coke, boys. I'm the biggest cum drinker in the world. Not gonna lie. Thanks for getting in touch, Alex. And Connor Foy, who got in touch last week and gave us a good pat on the back. He really liked the shout out. He really liked getting
man.
involved.
Oh yeah.
He said Pepsi Moke, Pepsi, Pepsi Max is goat tier. He goes, I might have been wrong about the Tommy sauce last week because he said that he has it in the fridge like some plebiscite.
He's admitted the wrongness. Good on him.
But he's decided that he would like Pepsi Max. Last week we spoke about the
Tomato
Tommy sauce. Now it went viral on TikTok, didn't it, Junior Boy?
It did 13K at the moment.
Which is
Not counting. Definitely counting.
Yeah, count.
Definitely
It's
count.
still going on.
Riley, yeah, he doesn't trust the algorithms. He's been counting every single person. You went with a seasonal decision,
Yes.
So weird.
which
It is
which meant that the Coke was the
tomato sauce.
come June 1st or some crap. You change where your sauce goes. And your bread, and your milk, and your oats, and your eggs.
Milk. The milk. The milk with a 2-hour shelf life.
Yeah. When it comes to July, I like my milk warm, so I go straight to the cow.
Yeah. So what Craggs does? Because I don't think you actually said it. but-
No.
So what happens is in the summer, the tomato sauce goes in the fridge. In the winter, the tomato sauce goes in the pantry.
Yes. And I think it's a decision from me. It's just kind of carried on from me growing up. Because I think when
Does
you
your
run
family
out,
do it?
No, when you run out of tomato sauce and it's in the fridge, you make a conscious choice when you put it back into said pantry or fridge where it goes, right? And if it's cold, you put it in the pantry. If it's warm, you put it in the fridge.
I think you're marching alone in this one, not just amongst the panel, but amongst most Perthians.
Possibly. But that's
You went on to say that you do the same thing with eggs.
I can understand
yes,
eggs.
eggs. Yeah, eggs definitely.
I've never seen eggs in a pantry
Yeah,
ever.
Yeah, when you brought it up, Jake was like, "Well, they're just like rolling around in there."
Yeah, I didn't know you
Not
put the
factoring in the carton that
Yeah.
the eggs come in.
I thought you just like
Surprisingly.
stash them next to your cereal, just like 3 there, and then a couple next to the chips, couple next to the sauce. But the issue is, once it gets to summer and you move the sauce, the eggs will fall out.
Rolling around.
What I don't get, so when you get to, okay, the eggs go in the fridge when you go to the shops, correct? All the time,
Yeah.
whether it's summer, winter, spring, autumn, doesn't matter.
Do you buy eggs?
Are they in the fridge?
Yeah.
Some shops do, some shops don't.
I've never
Legit.
bought eggs.
No,
Yeah,
seriously,
I haven't
you've
bought
never
eggs.
bought eggs?
I need to buy eggs.
That's a
got a
great
chicken.
question. I think they're in the part of the refrigerator that isn't as refrigerated.
Oh,
as
it's like
the rest.
it's a fridge, but it's not a door.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but
that
so
makes
is
what I mean.
like most stuff, isn't it? Like they put ham and shit in. Oh, maybe that.
Now that I think about it, it's definitely not as cold as the cheese section, for example.
Yeah, okay. That's it. Yeah.
makes sense.
Tomato sauce they don't put in the fridge.
No, they don't.
No, they don't.
like
But
that.
it does say refrigerate once
yeah,
open.
oh, mate, you and like 1,000 other people have told us that. It's randoms getting real heated.
That's like
mate, you
people
put
put-
it in the bloody fridge once you've opened. Yeah, we can
That's
read
like-
it. We
yeah.
just,
However,
we just
but-
disagree.
But how much is that possibly a more of a legal thing?
Yeah, well, that's like people going.
Yeah,
wait,
it
wait,
has
wait.
to be.
No one has a gambling problem. It says gamble
Yeah,
responsibly.
yeah.
Come on, guys.
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
That's actually a good point, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks.
Like,
Yeah.
anyway, so
We could
So
go on all night
speaking
about all
on
this.
the Coke. v
yeah,
Pepsi,
let's go back to the cola.
Sure.
One of the things that I hate the most. You go out.
Oh,
One of the staple drinks. I don't think I'm gonna say what you guys are thinking of. One of the staple drinks. two for 20 vodka Red Bulls.
That's
It's a classic.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
And then you go out to certain places. You go, oh, vodka Red Bull. Like, nah, we only do V.
oh,
Oh.
But
then
for the
you-
exact same price.
Yeah, the exact same price.
are they the same price? Are they similar price? I don't drink.
Nah, they
energy
don't
drinks.
taste the same.
Oh.
V
It
is
sounds cool because of
definitely-
the alliteration,
A vodka
but it's
and
not
V.
the same.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I wonder how they introduce that to their bar or establishment.
'Cause you'd have to
at
have
what
contractual-
point do they go? Yeah, at what point
They must. It
do they
must
have
be.
a contract with V?
It must be.
Well, that's
Yeah,
the
would be.
latest thing at this movie, the
At
movie
our
chain.
cinema. Do you know this, Michael?
The movie chain
Don't
that
know-
we
don't know it
previously
yet.
worked for,
Oh, the
and that Junior Boy still works
Yeah.
for.
Yep.
They have recently, within the last week, you can Google this.
Oh, wow.
Don't Google the title of the place. Well, you could, just listening to this podcast, you got to piece together quite a bit of
Yeah.
details by the looks. They've changed all their tapping from Coca-Cola products to Pepsi products.
Wow, we've gone American, have we?
I think it's
Apparently
goated.
so.
Mountain Dew slaps, dude.
Mountain Dew does slap.
That's why Pepsi is my
Dew's
favorite.
alright.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. I just
No.
don't know about it. I just don't know about it. And the frozen Pepsi range that you get at KFC, shit house.
Mountain Dew's good.
Oh, Mountain
Mountain
Dew
Dew's
free.
way
No,
better
Mountain
than
Dew's-
trumps all the other ones.
I want my own here. My question is, so have you ever ordered, when you go out, have you ever ordered a Jackson Pepsi?
Yeah. Do they have it?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Did
'Cause
you like-
The only time I've ever done that is to piss off whoever is behind the bar.
do they have Pepsi back there?
I don't believe so.
Because you know, like you go to the bar and you can get borderline any drink, like vodka cranberry, vodka pineapple juice.
Not Pepsi.
Like they have all the juices and shit back there.
Yeah.
But yeah, do they have Pepsi?
Can I get a vodka Pepsi Max, please?
We've just got normal Pepsi. Don't worry about it.
don't worry about it. Coke for me, please.
Have you got any warm tomato sauce I could chug in this thing?
Just on top of Bloody Mary.
Hang on. Is the sauce cold? I want it chilled. I want it slightly
yeah.
chilled. Where do you keep your eggs? All right, boys. Welcome back to the MacPack podcast. Now, this week we have a game. We've got a guest on the podcast, and what we're going to do every time we have a guest is basically pit the guest against one of the MacPack members. Now, this week it's movie mayhem. And we've decided that our movie guru, our movie bluff, are you giggling?
No.
Is
Not yet.
is Joey Mack. So Joey Mack is going to be going up against Michael Craggs. Now it makes sense that we're doing a movie-themed game because the king himself worked in the movie theater for how many years, big man?
Ooh, 6, 7 maybe?
Is that it? Mate,
Yes.
I'm 8 this month.
I know. You've superseded.
I'm the movie mayhem man.
Surpassed.
I've been there for longer than you two
Yeah, dude.
combined
and,
almost.
based on your answers from the last couple of weeks for movies,
I
I don't know how much attention you've been paying.
Didn't watch much. A lot of basketball was watched while I was at the movies.
Yeah.
All right, now this one is simple. So I'm going to provide you guys with the year of release of said movie
Yeah.
as the first hint.
Who's playing?
You and Michael.
Hell yeah.
Did you
let's
not
go.
listen?
Did you say that before?
Yeah,
did.
that's what my whole last minute of speaking was about. God, he's on the ball. I'm excited to put him forward. Jeepers. So we're going to the release of the movie, the year. That's quite a broad spectrum. If you can hit it on the head from that, fucking well done. Then we're going to get into the cast. Now, the cast is going to be pretty... We're going to start from a few of the lower tier
Love it,
people.
love it.
And then work our way up to the more known. Now, we haven't gone too deep. We've only gone like 4 deep at the max, all right? And then finally, if you haven't been able to work it out by that stage, we have one quote from the movie. If at that point you still can't work it out, Junior Boy's going to get involved because I didn't have time to suss all this shit during the day. Now, you get a point for answering the thing correctly.
Yep.
And it's not a matter of buzzing in. You just say the movie.
Whoever can get it
Straight
first
up.
wins.
And how many do we have?
Well, that's the thing, Joe. If you yell out the movie and you get it wrong, Michael then gets the next shot. So don't be an idiot about it. Don't just throw out all the bloody answers.
I'll do points.
Take your time. Are we ready to go, boys?
and how many movies do we
Let's
have?
go.
We've got 5. It's a best of 5. And I'm super excited for the both of you.
Good luck.
We're
Good
kicking things off back in 2001.
Ooh, a great year for cinema, I guess.
An incredible year for cinema. Riley was actually born in 2003, which makes no sense to what I'm talking about. Now, it's an animated and family movie.
Finding Nemo.
No, and he's gone early, so which means Michael gets the next guess. Now, the first member of the cast that I'm going to read out is Steve Buscemi.
Do you know?
The second member of the cast was John Goodman.
At what point can I guess again?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
We'll go one hint. Once I give one hint away, you can then get involved. So at this point, Joe, you can guess. Oh, we'll leave it for Michael at this point. Have you got a guess?
I know exactly what movie it is.
Oh.
I can't remember what the title is.
Joe?
What a...
Monsters Incorporated.
Joe is bang on the money.
Is that what you were thinking?
The next person we were going to mention, would that have helped? Billy Crystal was Mike Mazowski.
Mike Wazowski.
Yep.
And the quote, I'm going to read out the quote because I put a lot of
That's-
time into this.
In the actors... In
the
character,
voice. Do the
Joe.
voice.
In
In
character.
Please.
I don't know who says this. I'm not... You can do the voices. You're good at the voices.
do the
Why
voice.
don't you do the quotes?
I don't know who said this either.
Okay, right.
What?
What's the line?
The quote is put that thing back where it came from. Also help me.
Oh, that's
Mike
Mike
Wazowski.
Wazowski.
Go, give us Mike Mazowski.
Wait, is the little green
Yeah,
guy?
he's a little green guy.
He does it in a dance as well. It's a part of a musical. If for a bit of
Put
trivia.
that thing back where it came from.
Also help me.
Also help me.
No.
Well,
So
Joe-
help me. So help me.
Quizmasters
Can't-
becomes the Quizzes.
I know. Should
One-
we flip the script.
Yeah, because Finding Nemo came out in 2003, Riley's birthday.
Now, so that's 1 point to Joey Boy, which means the MacPack lead 1-0.
Should I read the next one?
Yep.
Yeah.
So you're gonna go what the genre is, and then start from players bottom to high. Good.
This is a...
Players.
The actors. I love sports.
A 1994 drama.
Yep.
Starring Bob Gunton.
Wait.
Shawshank Redemption.
Bang.
Bang.
Michael
Craggsy
Craggs gets it, and he levels the field, ladies and gentlemen.
And do we want to hear the quote in character?
We've also got Morgan Freeman and Tim Robbins,
19.
who has no
I was
relation.
gonna go
1994 is my birthday,
It's,
so
you got Shawshank, Pulp Fiction, Jurassic Park, Forrest Gump. You got some classics.
yeah.
Damn.
Indeed, you do.
The Jim Carrey 3
The quote
as well.
The quote.
Jim
from the big
Carrey or Steve Carell?
No, Jim Carrey. Ace Ventura, Dumb and Dumber, and
Riley thinks they look the
The
same.
Mask.
Riley thinks they
Oh,
look.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
If you were a
fucking-
super fan, you would understand.
not Natalie Portman and Keira Knightley.
Yeah, facts.
The quote is, you either get busy living or get busy dying.
That was pretty
That's
good.
not bad.
That from Morgan?
That's not bad.
That's from
No,
Morgan.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's from the other guy.
Is it?
No, it's not.
No, it is.
Whoa.
He said no because
Oh,
he's
they
like,
say it multiple times. Yeah, Tim Robbins says it
yeah,
first.
he's, this is the iconic.
To do
one.
it
Do
as
Morgan.
as
Do Morgan.
yeah.
That sounded a lot like Morgan.
Get busy living
Sounds.
or get busy dying.
That's not bad.
Okay. well, just a few octaves lower is essentially the rule.
Maybe in a couple of years, right?
The rule towards that. No, anyway. All right, third one. This one also came out in 1994.
It's going to be one of the ones I just said.
You can guess at any point. It's a drama, and it's a crime drama.
Pulp Fiction.
Bang.
Joe gets number
Joe's
2.
going bang.
That was he guessed it earlier.
I've told you these are like. cult
So it's also got
classics.
Uma Thurman, Sammy Jackson, John Travolta, and the quote that we've gone with is if my answers frighten you, then you should cease asking scary questions.
Interesting quote to
That's
go
an
with.
interesting quote to
It was
go
like
for.
the highest rated one on IMDb.
Could have gone for
Who said
the
that?
entire paragraph of the Ezekiel quote. Or
I don't think Riley's seen Pulp Fiction and Jake's seen it once.
Yeah, I
so
think so.
this is why we're hosting and not guessing. We're quickly learning that. Riley, rip into the fourth of 5.
The next one is a 2013 bio-crime drama.
Good.
Any guesses?
Wolf of Wall Street.
That's what I was telling you.
He's good at what he does, Michael.
Bang.
He's good at what he does.
hey,
What? That was impressive. That was impressive. It's got Margot.
crime.
It's got Matt McConaughey, Margot Robbie, Jonah Hill, and obviously Leo. The quote that I ran with was Fugazi,
Good quote.
which, yeah, that was enough. And finally,
McConaughey
this
says that.
one doesn't matter. You've won
He's won.
3-1.
Always one.
Like the Golden State Warriors of yesteryear. Now we're back to us talking about the stuff that I know about.
It's time, Michael.
We're going to go one more. We're going to go
You're
one
still
more.
sure.
I'm flabbergasted.
Let's see. This is for pride at this point. If he beats you 4-1, we might just wrap the podcast here.
Yeah, I'll leave.
All right, here we go, Joe. This one, and Michael, obviously.
I'm
but
joking. Try. Yeah, I'm already.
Michael's
out. Yeah,
basically just a host at this point. This one came out in 2017. It's a drama. It's got Robert Carlyle, Johnny Lee Miller, Ewan Bremner.
Oh, Train Spotting 2.
Bang, thanks for coming, ladies and gentlemen. The king has just fucking put on a display.
That's 2
Slap.
foot down on the
He
accelerator.
has
no
just
stopping.
put down a display.
But it's also,
After-
they're like some of their favorite movies. So I sort of
Ooh.
have that insight.
Ooh.
No,
That's what I was
I
saying.
wouldn't.
Ooh.
No, I
I
wouldn't.
mean, to be fair, there was 2 94 movies there that and you got
Yeah.
one of them. So
I've seen both
That's
of those
fair.
movies once. I've seen. All right, let's
you
go
are
through
a
it.
terrible excuse
I've seen
for
I've seen Shawshank once. I've seen Pulp Fiction once. I've seen Wolf of Wall Street once. Very recently, I've seen Trainspotting 2 once.
I think
I've seen
I've-
Monsters Inc. 800,000 times.
I think I've watched all of them.
and I still
with
didn't
you
know
at
who
some
did the
point.
quote.
Right.
So it speaks volumes. Joe, congratulations. You've kept the
Thank
MacPack
you,
dream
thank you.
alive.
Congratulations, Josie.
The MacPack lead the guests 1-0.
All right, boys.
Who's this? Who's this talking? Oh my god, this is normally my job.
Craggs takeover. I've got a bone to pick in regards to the fantasy chat the other week.
Oh, yep.
You called me out for not participating in a fantasy.
You weren't
pick'em.
present. You weren't there.
No,
You weren't
you are correct in that.
All right, good
I
stuff.
And on a separate note, no. So no, I was not present. And
You were playing soccer, yeah?
I was. I had a
Yeah.
legitimate excuse.
Mate, the draft had been planned for like a month.
Also true. And
You didn't mention to me that you weren't going to be part of it till less than literally like 16 hours
I'm
before the
still a
draft.
part of it.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
we
just,
just-
holding way too many wild cards.
Yeah,
It's like
midfielders we
having
call
a-
them.
Yeah, midfielders.
all of the midfielders.
I think I had about 600 points on the bench this week.
Nice. That's where you want to.
However, notoriously, besides me not participating in the draft, notoriously I seem to lose interest
Yeah, early.
Noticed.
early,
Early.
right?
Early and often.
Early and often. And this has been abused by some people. Some people willing to spin the roulette a few times in their favor. Shall we name? Yeah, it's been a few years
They
now,
say
right?
you got to be in it to win it.
You gotta
and
be in
gotta
it to win it.
twice to win it even more.
Exactly.
Go fake.
Fake
Go,
name,
Go. Yeah. Go. Yeah. So we know the initials. So
Timmy
go-
Pine.
Nice.
We'll go with Tim Pine.
Good. You can
I'm
work.
pretty sure he's a politician for some reason. I think.
You can work
Anyway.
it out.
Used to work with us at
Said
the
movie.
Burgoon Reels.
I like that.
I don't think they've been Reels for about 20 years now. Anyway,
Oh, they used to be called that.
That's
yeah,
right.
Oh, what?
No,
to call
no,
it
they
the
didn't
Reels.
call it the reels.
because they used to
Oh,
be
right,
on a
right,
reel.
right, right.
when
Yeah,
when Michael started, they were on reels.
Yeah.
That's how old he is.
Oh, yeah.
There used to be legitimate
And there was a guy
projectionists that used
there
to
was a
go
guy
to
playing
TAFE
piano.
yeah, that's the top.
It's like the Yankee Stadium.
Anyway, Timmy Payne. About 3 weeks in, I reckon, to the fantasy a few years ago,
Yeah.
comes to me with a proposition. would you like to give your team up for a possible
For adoption.
for a possible cash return at the end of the season?
Oh, so he was going to give you the
He
money.
was going to give me some money.
All
Not
of the
all of
money?
it.
For no, not all of it. No, split.
okay,
I think
fair enough.
maybe-
We know this man
maybe
too
a
well.
third. maybe
A third is still
maybe a
good.
third. Yeah, it's better than I expected. I was going to give it for free, but I played my cards close to the chest. Anyway, so he takes over the team, uses a more of an experimental team.
Yeah.
This
Nice.
was classic, so it wasn't a draft.
Oh, right. So
It was
genuine
classic,
man
so,
hours.
yeah, genuine man hours. And by the end of the season, we, I believe, finished top 3, right?
Good effort.
Maybe even top 2.
That's good.
Anyway, throughout the
Behind
year-
like him? Behind his actual team?
yeah, no, in front of his actual
Oh,
team. Yeah,
that's
we,
so-
we beat his actual team.
We stop saying we.
You did it, boy.
You just watched.
I will explain why I say we soon. So yeah, it finished in front of experimental. Halfway through the season, he gave up his actual team to fully focus on.
And he gave that to
on
someone else.
yeah, possibly. He's on sold it. Anyway, so about when we started to do, I'm just going to continue with we started to do very well. Questions were asked because everyone knew my ability for AFL fantasy.
Yeah.
So we got together a few pieces of dialogue per week
He had a script.
in regards to certain traits and certain games.
Who did you have to speak these to? Like his mates?
Just in case. Just in
Like
case.
when you're at like a social event with his mates.
Yes, that I was prepared with lines because obviously the mates. This was a significant buy-in from what I remember.
How much?
There's a lot of money on this.
Maybe like $100.
Oh, that's
Maybe.
good.
That's
But
fair
it been
enough.
enough. Like a good payout by the end of it.
Yeah.
But
Especially
yeah,
for you, you haven't done anything.
Yeah, so it ended up being so they weren't too happy with it if they found out.
Yeah, with
so
the
we just
cavalier
kept up
attitude.
The stunt.
the stunt, pretty much.
The heist.
And luckily,
Did you win?
No, I believe got knocked out of semis.
Did you get any cash for?
No.
Oh.
And did you ever have to discuss it with
Unfortunately
people?
Yes, multiple times.
And
Yeah,
were you
multiple
staying
times.
up to date with what was going on, or was it literally just he'd be like,
There
"Alright."
was a little bit of hit and miss. There was sometimes I was a few weeks behind.
Haven't read
Didn't know what fixtures are coming up. Oh, you made these trades this week? Yep. What for?
Just big things happening.
Yeah.
have no
You
idea.
should never reveal his
Just,
secret.
just gonna head
No
to the
idea.
toilet, check that little cheat sheet that he had prepared
The
earlier.
screenplay.
So it leads me to this question. Have you guys ever in your life, or multiple times, ever been given accolades or people thought you were better than you were for no reason on your own?
Do you want to kick us off, Joe? I
Were
feel like
you ever, so more like a test that you just thought you'd, like English test that you just completely BS
You-
through and
yeah,
you somehow
you
got
blitzed
marks for creativity or something along those lines?
Maybe come back to me. I'm still thinking.
Junior boy.
No, not really. There was one time where I got stuck at work. I was meant to be cleaning the popcorn maker, and I didn't, and someone else did, and then someone came out the back while me and the other guy was there, and then she was like, "Oh, you did it so well! Like that was so quick." And then I was like, "Oh," and then I did get called out. Someone was like, "You took credit," and then yeah.
That's
Actually, I think I do have a good one. So we went out, a group of friends, and it's a bit of a callback to an earlier story, but a group of friends of us went out to Tenpin bowling. And I hadn't been...
This is the most, and hopefully forever, this is the most we ever talk
Bowls
about.
cast.
No chance. This is going on the same line as chess. This is bringing up
Starting
multiple
this
times.
time next week, Joe and Michael take on 10-pin bowling
And like...
with their own little podcast.
Done.
So I'm not like great at Tenpin bowling. I don't go often. But I don't know what it was. This night,
Blitzed.
I was just, fucking knocking them down. It might have... Yeah, it was like the first time I'd been in like years since like a party when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, "Wow, you're like good." I'm like, "Oh, this is just a usual game. I'm just good at the sport."
It's just what I
You
do.
just have to not be impressed when they go down.
Just a quick turn, not even a quick turn, just a subtle turn, as though you're watching an explosion in the background. Just,
Oh, and then you come back.
yeah, and you
This animation again, one of my favorites.
Do they do animations all the time? Is
Yeah.
that
Pretty
yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah.
even at your uni games?
Yeah, they did. And we loved it. But there was
Because no one in the team had ever played before, so they were like, "Oh, this is the first time we've ever seen this before."
there are actual bowling schools. There are actual bowling universities. I forgot to mention that before.
Bowling.
You played against.
10-pin bowling university.
lay
Oh
you-
yeah, these guys were rolling like 240s, like just
that's
like it was nothing. All
effortless.
5 of them.
Not even watching the animation. That's how cool they were. They didn't
Yeah.
fucking care.
Jay?
I don't know if I have one. I'm pretty good at everything. So, I think that the best ever. Okay, yeah, this is pretty good. This was a basketball story. This is when we were still in high school, and we were playing. We'd come from school, and we used to jump off the bus and go to Nando's at Southlands, and eat like a heap of food, and then go and play. Not really the smartest thing to do.
Seems
And
like a great idea at the time.
And in our later years, that turned, like, eating a heap of food turned into, like, we'd go to Corkill's place, like, have a couple beers before we'd go and play.
Oh no.
Perfect carb loading.
Yeah, he'll be on the podcast when he comes back from the UK, and he listens every week. He will have no issue with me mentioning this little tale. This is just like a little preamble to my story. He used to, you know how you bring like a water bottle?
Oh, I remember.
Yeah, the giggles are knowing giggles. So you'd usually bring your water bottle or a Gatorade or something to have along the sidelines, so that when you
Performance
get
enhancing.
when you get a little bit toasted, a little bit crusty, and you need to hydrate yourself.
Refuel.
Yeah, you have a water or a Powerade or an isotonic drink that's going to give you your electrolytes back.
of course.
I haven't seen many EMU Export ads where they encourage the same sort of behaviour, but
Into the grand final, there's just a big emu tip it on the coach.
it's more so middle of the game. He used to bring like a few cans, warm cans as well. So the whole sauce chat didn't matter. He'd have warm cans so that it was summer or winter, and he'd just shuffle them under the bench. And instead of grabbing a cold water or even going to the tap, he'd just crack open an EMU Export mid-game.
Oh no.
Just the same way as LeBron James does, I guess.
That's
my
his special drink.
my story is in along those same veins. So we would go to Tom's house before. We'd chill out with all the boys, whether they were playing or not playing. We'd have a few beers, and then we'd go play a game of basketball. And there was this 5-minute period. The game started, and everyone was like a little bit
Tipsy.
not tipsy, but like we were like a little bit gassed. And then we get out there, and I've just hit like a heap of shots early, like triple,
Bang.
layup, floater, and like had 12 to 15 points within like 3 minutes. They called a timeout, and one guy, like as we were like walking to the bench, one of their blokes like was just like, "Man, you always play like this?" And I just turned to him like, "Yeah, man." And Benny Wrights grabbed me and just started wetting himself. He goes, "No, you fucking don't, man." I didn't score any points for the rest of the game. Like literally no more shots went in, and that dude was like, he was pretty aware by that stage that I was just like, I just had a good little period.
Should have had more emus under the bench.
Yeah, maybe that's the key.
Prepared.
That's like when you're versing someone and then like one of them will hit a shot and everyone on the team is like, "Whoa, yeah."
Yeah,
and,
once-
and they're like trying to play it cool.
Once people start cheering for like a normal made basket, that's when you know it's like a rarity. The best rarity we had was when a member of my close friendship group,
Banked in a 3.
so he was playing with us, and he used to rock up in these long sleeve t-shirts, right? And then chuck his singlet over the top. And he'd never played the game before, but we were like wanting him to get involved, and we'd throw him the ball and he'd dribble around and carry on. And this one day, as like not as a joke, but sort of, we handed him the ball over half court, and he took 2 big dribbles and then just like heaved it from his hip, and it just smacked up against the backboard so hard, it just went doof doof and straight in.
Sunk in.
And he obviously wanted to play it off pretty subtly. Like, man, I'd fucking do this all the time. Because for everyone that wasn't on our team, everyone was like, "Oh, nice." But for everyone on our team, after, like, this was the last game of the season the bloke hadn't scored. He hit that.
Wet
the
like
bench
water.
erupted, and the fan, like, we had a few of the boys who come to watch, ran onto the court,
Yeah,
like,
stormed
stormed the court.
Timeouts.
Imagine
Like it was
Buddy,
going on.
Buddy Franklin kicking 100 goals. Like, everyone jumps the fence and gets involved. That's exactly what happened. And like they tackled him at half court and like gave him a massive hug, and everyone got around him. The other team didn't know what to do. Like they had inbounded the ball and had the ball like crossing this bunch of people hugging at the middle of the court.
Just
going like, and then just stood at half court going, "What the fuck is happening to our game?" Absolute chaos. So you can get caught out, and when you get caught out, it sort of adds to the hilarity of it all. I imagine. Did you get close to getting caught out when you were doing the fantasy stuff?
By the end of the season, I think it was pretty obvious what was going on. So
You couldn't name anyone in your team. At this point.
Luckily, we didn't win.
Yeah,
We.
controversial.
We. All right, boys, we're going to wrap up this week's episode of the MacPack Podcast as we do every single week on the MacPack Podcast without Everyday Hero. Now, this week we have a special guest, a very, very special guest who's come on board, Mr. Michael Craggs, as you all know. And this week he's brought his own Everyday Hero to the table.
So my everyday hero is the person who, at every organisation, whether it be sporting, academics, down your local library club, whatever that may be, right?
Jesus.
Chess, bowling.
Exactly. They're the clubmen, all women, who keep everything oiled and rolling. Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Like the heart and soul.
That's a Temple Building reference.
You wouldn't get it.
They really killed with the crowd.
They're everywhere, and they're never really recognized by 90% of the population.
They're the background backbone of the
They're the
club.
background backbone.
Yes.
Legit.
And you only realize that they're not there until they're
not
gone.
They die. This person die.
Not specifically, but
Oh.
yes, this particular person that I'm talking about is from my childhood, who
Okay.
is now sadly passed.
Oh, okay.
However, he was down at the athletics club at Melville.
Yep.
Never asked for any payment, nothing like that. Just wanted to pass his knowledge on to the next generation.
Good.
Good.
Good spirit.
Eric Christensen
Shout out to the
was
man.
his
Name
name.
drop. Legend.
And yeah, every club does have it, or hopefully does have it, and
I think they all do.
I think they all do. And I feel sorry for any club that doesn't have them.
Yeah.
I'm sure everyone listening at home, you're talking about it. Someone's springing to
Yeah,
mind.
100%.
Yeah, 100%, definitely.
That's definitely
So
what's going on.
that's my everyday hero.
So you were down at the athletics club. What sort of things did Mr. Christensen used to get
He
up
was
to?
a throws coach,
Right.
so he used to.
Were you a
take
big
us
thrower?
on the jav. Yeah, I dabbled in a throw or two.
There's not much
you
he hasn't
teach.
dabbled in.
Actually,
Yeah, I coach. Yeah.
actually,
You know what? I think
Michael is
Hold
this
on,
person.
no.
He is.
Michael is this person at Corpus.
This
I-
is
he
what
teaches
this is,
discus.
ladies and gentlemen, what we call a subtle flex. That's what we call a humble brag. This week's everyday hero is actually Michael
Michael.
Craggs. We haven't had someone nominate themselves as their own everyday hero and then try and subtly weevil it into
Earlier in
some
the
Eric Christensen or some guy.
It's Eric Christensen is Michael Craggs spelled backwards.
Difference is I get paid for it. These people are complete volunteers. And we
You thief.
I'm sorry, I have to make a living.
No, that's lovely. We have a lot of. It was definitely like we've been a part of like the Willerton footy and the
Yep.
Willerton basketball community, and there's a lot of people who do the same thing. I mentioned last week we were down at the Salt Lakes doing the yacht club racing.
Yeah.
There was a guy down there, Barry. I'll just mention his name. I doubt he listens. He's about 70. Lovely guy. He manages like the what do they
The
call
land
it?
yachts.
Yeah, the land yacht racing. The Sandgophers land yacht racing down at White Lakes.
Damn.
He's a genuine champion. This plays into.
Jake, you're wearing the hat right now.
I am. I'm wearing the
That's
white.
White
I'm
Lakes.
wearing the White
White
Lakes.
Lakes Brewing.
The White Lakes hat. It's a flash.
Cha-ching, bang.
We're sponsored, baby.
Yeah, let's go.
And so he was a genuine champion. It sort of plays into the last thing that you mentioned, where it's like the people that you don't necessarily, when you get accreditation for something that's not necessarily true.
Yeah.
There was 3 of us from my agency down there. And he'd spoken to us previously. So he'd come in for a meeting and spoke to me and I'll call him Brad for this occasion. And then there was another bloke down there as well. And his name also starts with a B, which is going to be tough.
Bradley.
Brendan.
Yep.
All right. So we've got Brad and Brendan. And Brad is the boss of the company. Brendan is the developer. And then there's me, Jake. And he came down there
Jake.
and he proceeded to call us all by the wrong names for hours on end. And I didn't have the heart to correct him because he came in with such gusto.
Brendan.
And so for hours, I just went along with I was actually Brad, which I felt quite nice about. But the boss was my name, and then the developer was someone else.
So you're
Correct name,
you're
the
on the
wrong
giving
person.
end of the said acknowledgement that he didn't deserve.
Yeah, I was like for like a couple of hours, I was the boss of the organization, and I didn't have the heart to. He called the boss Jake heaps, and I was like, I don't want to say anything. And anyway, so it went on for ages, and then me and the boss ended up going out onto the land yachts to like set up something, and someone must have told him, or he must have heard the other people there call us by our names. Because when we came back like 30 minutes later, not only did he say our names, he said them with such gusto. Like he knew that he had to overcorrect. Like I came back, he's like, mate, love your work out there, Jake. And I was like, I wasn't Jake when I left, but I am now. And then
Brad's like, thanks.
we're going along with the characters. No, but the Everyday Hero, we 100% agree. Definitely, there's so many local legends that get involved with the club.
That's a great way to describe them.
They're
They are
local legends,
for sure.
and they go unnoticed. But the team loves them, and the team's aware of what they do, and the people that get involved are aware of what they do. The best example I saw was over the weekend actually. The Geelong Cats have a water boy type setup. Like I think he just helps with the training. He's a young special needs kid, probably mid-20s.
Yeah.
And he helps out with the Geelong stuff. And he basically just like helps him out at training. Like I'd imagine he fetches balls and like helps him out, gives him waters, does all that. Those little tasks that obviously like
Someone's got to do them.
fill his boots. Yeah. And obviously last year with the COVID stuff, the teams were bound by being team only. Like if you were in the team, you were in the team. And so there weren't really all those extra jobs that would sort of be given to those types of individuals were not part of it. He's obviously back at the club.
Hell yeah.
And
Back in.
I'll share the video on our page, but the kid comes
Loves
back to the John Cena theme. Like they've
yes.
like, and he comes into the Geelong rooms. Like they're all sitting in the theater area, and he struts in, and he's got the like WWE type belt hanging over his chest, and then
Ballin'.
on the big screen, like the big black screen, it's just entire like imagine a theater, and it's just entirely black. 2 white words. I'm back. And like he comes strutting in. Matthew Scarlett opens up the door and he comes strolling through and he's dapping up all like these multi-million-dollar players. Like, what's going on? Gets to the front and everyone's like absolutely giving it hell. He gets to the front and goes, I'm back. And everyone just fucking loses. He's like, yeah. That's exactly what this is.
Yeah,
like
100%.
it's just like the local legends who get involved. They don't necessarily, they're not like the big figure, the big figure items, but
They're just the cog in the wheel that you just wouldn't know exists until
they're not there.
they're not there.
Yeah. And we massive shout out to everyone that fulfills a role like that in your local club. You are this week's Everyday Hero. All right, that brings us to the end of episode 26 of the MacPack podcast. It's our half birthday. We've done 6 months, and in another 26 weeks' time, we'll be celebrating our number one
year.
our first year birthday.
Crazy.
We might have to get the king back for our he could be Michael. You could be our birthday celebrant.
I'll bring a cake next
There we go. That's all we asked for. What are you? Vegan, gluten?
Vegan free, yeah. I mean, vegan.
Vegan free. Oh, the cat's out of the bag.
One of those all meat burgers, please. Can I have a cake that's just a steak with a candle in it? It's been an absolute pleasure, as it always is, to sit next to the two of you, and it's been an extraordinarily honour, privilege, and pleasure to sit next to you this week, Michael. We've got a review before we finish things up.
Yes, sir. Good friend of mine, Sam Ryan, says 10 out of 10 would recommend. It's a great listen. You won't regret it.
He's bang on. He's bang on the money, don't you reckon, Michael?
100%. I'm going to give my live on-air review.
Oh, this is
Oh my
big.
God.
What we worked out before that you don't you haven't left a review at this point?
I will. You can subscript this one and just add, I'll subscript this one and just add it myself. But it's been a pleasure watching you guys over the last 6 months, or listening to you guys, watching you guys over the last couple of months. You guys have grown up. you've developed.
By half a year.
Yeah, by half a year. But I'm sure the next 6 months, next year, next 12 months will be
Big things always
big
coming.
things, big leaps, big steps.
Huge things.
Yep.
It came as no. We just want to say a massive thank you for joining us this week. It genuinely was. It wasn't even a question
No.
as who was going to be the first guest. This was before. Yeah, this goes way back. Like it's just basically been
Always
an
yeah.
unspoken
Yeah.
about thing that you were going to be the first guest, and when it got to the point where
The question wasn't who are we getting on, it's when is he getting
yeah,
Crazy.
100. That was 100%. That was 100% what
boys.
was going on. When you told me that you listened, I was a little bit shocked. It's always shocking when people say it is shocking when people say that they do listen, but when like you said that you listened, I was like, oh, that's actually I did not expect. I genuinely
Yeah.
did not expect that. You get surprises, but then you get shock, and that definitely fell into the shock category. But it did make it just always has made sense for you to be the first guest on the podcast. You were the first, as we mentioned earlier. You were the first person, your first older person that I met at Corpus. And you were the first older person. You're basically the first person that I saw when I walked through the door at the movie cinema place that we're not allowed to say the name of. So it makes complete and utter sense for you to be the first guest that we have on the MacPack podcast.
Cheers, boys. It's been an absolute pleasure.
And he's got to be the most sort of engaged fan.
Yes. Yeah,
we
fan,
have.
yeah.
Every single time I've seen him out, it's
Great
He's got
brainstorms.
ideas for segments. He's got notes on what he liked, what he didn't like.
We're still wondering, because based on the story before where he sort of, he outlaid the fact that he's not always 100% into something, so he'll use other people's notes to sort of fill a void where he may struggle. So we're not, and especially now that we know that he hasn't left a review, maybe I'm beginning to think that he's just been handed some notes prior to every meeting that he's had with us, where it's like one person listens to the podcast and he goes, "Oh, I'm going to run into those McKenna boys. Can you just do me up a quick?
say.
Can you just do me
Whatever.
up a quick cheat sheet that I can just like pretend to say some? Like, I'll just say some stuff that'll like figure their triggers, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, he must listen. What a guy! Get him on! Get him on!"
What I've collected is actually a multitude of tiny little podcasts from everyone else that listens, and I listen to that. it's just pieced together the perfect wrap up for the weekly MacPack.
That's all we need.
The MacPack's Digest.
We're obviously on YouTube. Riley's going to cut this one up. There's going to be a heap of videos because Michael's got a stack of stories and a stack of videos that we've discussed throughout that Riley will embed into the videos on YouTube. Obviously, you can find us on Spotify and Apple Pods,
And TikTok.
and TikTok. Riley loves the TikTok. We're going viral on TikTok. We're not sure which or if you listen to the podcast on YouTube or Spotify or which.
YouTube, Spotify.
That's good.
Big
They're the two big hitters. They're the two big hitters.
I've got an Android phone,
Oh,
so Apple
so this is why there's been no review.
Oh,
Yeah,
fair
sorry.
enough then.
So can you not leave Apple Podcasts?
No, you can. You just have to.
Oh,
I've
you
still
just-
got an Apple account.
Get a
just-
Slack, is that?
Didn't know
It's
we're
good to
being
know.
elitist over here, but that's all right. I'll join the club.
So yeah, that's a message to anyone that's listening. If you are on Spotify and if you're poor and you do have an Android phone, just head to Apple Podcasts and leave us a review. They mean the world to us. I've said it before, but I'll say it again. It's been a pleasure to sit next to the two of you, and it's been an absolute honor. Privilege, pleasure, honor, and privilege to sit next to the Mr. Michael Craggs, for episode 26 of the MacPack podcast. As we say every single week, stay safe, stay blessed, and always remember to
Do you want to take this one, Michael?
go on.
give
Give
it
him.
to him.
Give
Give
it
it
to
to
him.
him. Give it to him.
Pressure's on.
Okay, wait, what?
He doesn't know what that is. He doesn't know what it is.
Wind up again.
All right, okay, hang on. Okay,
You got this.
hang on. Where's that? Do you have your spy with you? Can he hand you that sheet of paper that says?
Put the AirPod back
Here we
in.
go. Write it down. What do you have to say? What do you have to say? What's the thing that we say before we finish things up, Riley boy? Give your mum.
Go give your mama.
Give your mum a hug. Okay, here we go.
Go give your mama.
This is all going in. We're not cutting any of this out. This is the raw behind the scenes footage, behind the foreskin, as Joe would say. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been an honor. It's been a privilege. It's been a pleasure to have Mr. Michael Craggs on episode 26 of the MacPack podcast, celebrating our half birthday. As we say each and every week, stay safe, stay blessed, and always remember to
Go give your mum a hug.
ciao for now, but not forever.